Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, we're diving into a story that's been buzzing around the NFL circles, especially among Steelers fans eager for some off-season excitement. It involves one of the league's most talented wide receivers, Terry Mclaurin, who, as of July, officially requested a trade from the Washington Commanders. And even though we're in the middle of the offseason, this situation is far from settled. There's been no official update on negotiations, no sign of a deal being close, but it's clear that McLaurin's camp is serious about moving on. And for Steelers fans, this could be a golden opportunity, something that might just reshape the AFC North's landscape. Now, it's important to understand that a trade isn't guaranteed, but the rumors and reports suggest that the Steelers are definitely interested. And why wouldn't they be? Pittsburgh's general manager, Omar Khan, has already shown that he's willing to shake things up in 2025, making some surprising moves during the offseason. Just look at the two blockbuster trades he pulled off, acquiring DK Metcalf from Seattle and Jalen Ramsey from Miami. That's not something you see every year, especially not in Pittsburgh, a franchise known for its stability and smart, calculated moves. But Khan isn't afraid to push the envelope when he sees an opportunity to improve the team, and McLaurin could very well be next on that list. The Steelers are currently in a bit of a tough spot, especially at the wide receiver position. They've been without a true number 2 receiver for a while now, and that's become a glaring weakness. They need a player who can step up and make an immediate impact, and McLaurin fits that profile perfectly. His skill set, his route running, and his ability to make plays after the catch, all of that would complement the Steelers' offense beautifully, especially alongside DK Metcalf. The chemistry between those two could be electric, opening up the field for Kenny Pickett and making Pittsburgh's passing attack much more dangerous. Now, I want to pause here for just a second. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Because folks, the reality is that NFL trades like this are complex, involving a lot of moving parts, negotiations, and of course the right price. And reports from Chris Halleck of DK Pittsburgh Sports suggest that the Steelers have already reached out to the Commanders about a potential deal for McLaurin. But as of now, it seems unlikely they'll land him easily. Washington's asking price could be steep, and the Commanders aren't just going to give away their star receiver without a fight. And that's where things get interesting. The Steelers, with their current cap space of around $17.5 million, could potentially make this work, especially if they backload the contract or structure it cleverly to keep some room for in-season moves, like dealing with injuries or other unexpected needs. Historically, Pittsburgh has shown they're not afraid to spend when the right player is available, and McLaurin's recent performance certainly fits that bill. Over the last few seasons, he's been remarkably efficient, combining speed, route precision, and a knack for making big plays. In many ways, he's a better fit for the Steelers' offense than some might realize, especially as a true number 2 behind Metcalf, providing that reliable threat that defenses have to game plan for. But let's talk about the trade specifics, because that's where the real strategy comes in. The Steelers are no strangers to making bold moves with draft picks, as we saw with the Metcalf trade, where they sent a second-round pick to Seattle in exchange for DK, and then agreed to a 4-year, $132 million extension. That contract made Metcalf one of the top-paid receivers in the NFL, averaging around $33 million a year. So naturally, McLaurin is aiming for a similar deal, which complicates negotiations. The Commanders aren't likely to accept a first-round pick for McLaurin, especially considering his age. He'll turn 30 this season, and his recent production. Still, they could be persuaded if the package is enticing enough. In fact, some analysts have suggested that the Steelers could offer a combination of draft picks and promising players to make it worthwhile. For example, sending the Commanders a third-round pick in 2026, along with a third-rounder in 2027, plus a promising but unproven receiver like Roman Wilson. While Wilson isn't a household name yet, he's shown flashes of potential, and adding him along with the draft capital might just tip the scales. It's about making an appealing enough package to convince Washington that they're getting fair value for a player of Mclaurin's caliber. Now, it's also worth noting that the Steelers' draft strategy often involves strategic trading, and with 3 third-round picks next year, they have some flexibility. They could include one of those as part of the deal, perhaps even throwing in an extra pick to sweeten the pot. The key point here is that the trade market has been set with Metcalf's deal, and a combination of 2 third-round picks plus a player like Wilson could be more valuable than a second-round pick, especially considering the current landscape of NFL trades and the value of draft capital in today's game. Of course, all of this hinges on Washington's willingness to move Mclaurin and whether the Steelers can craft an offer that's both appealing and financially feasible. The Steelers are known for their smart cap management and their ability to make contracts work, so they could backload or restructure to fit Mclaurin's deal under their cap constraints. If they can pull this off, it would be a huge statement, a clear sign that Pittsburgh is serious about contending now, not just in the future. But let's be real for a moment. The chances of this trade happening are still uncertain. The Commanders might decide to hold on to Mclaurin, especially if they believe they can work out a new deal that keeps him in Washington long-term. They might ask for more draft capital or even consider keeping him if their negotiations don't reach a satisfactory conclusion. Still, the fact that the Steelers are in the mix, actively exploring options, signals that they're not content sitting back and waiting. They want to accelerate the rebuild, and acquiring a receiver like Mclaurin would do exactly that, giving Kenny Pickett a true weapon, boosting the offense, and making the Steelers a more formidable team in 2025 and beyond. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture. The AFC North is an incredibly competitive division, with teams like the Ravens and Bengals always in the mix. Pittsburgh has been stuck in an 8-year drought without a playoff win, which is hard to swallow for a franchise with such a storied history. Mike Tomlin, one of the best coaches in NFL history, knows better than anyone that this team needs to make a bold move to get over the hump. Adding Mclaurin could be that move, providing a spark that propels them back into playoff contention and perhaps even deeper into the postseason. And don't forget, the Steelers have a young quarterback in Kenny Pickett, who showed flashes of greatness last season. He needs weapons, and Mclaurin could be the perfect complement to Metcalf, a receiver who can stretch the field, make contested catches, and be a reliable target in clutch moments. That kind of talent can elevate the entire offense and give Pittsburgh a new dimension that defenses will find hard to handle. As we look ahead, the potential for a trade like this is exciting but also complex. It involves a lot of moving parts, negotiations, and strategic planning. But if the Steelers manage to pull it off, it could be a game-changer not just for their offense, but for the entire division. Imagine a scenario where Pittsburgh upgrades their receiving core dramatically, finally ending that long playoff drought and positioning themselves as serious contenders once again. That's the kind of move that can shift the balance of power in the AFC North for years to come. So, Steelers fans, stay tuned because this story is far from over. There's still a lot of water to flow under the bridge, and whether or not this trade materializes, it's a clear signal that Pittsburgh is serious about competing at the highest level. The offseason is where teams can really make their mark, and Omar Khan and the Steelers front office have shown they're not afraid to go all in when the opportunity arises. We'll be watching closely, bringing you all the updates, analysis, and inside info as this story develops. The AFC North might just be about to get a whole lot more interesting, and the Steelers could be at the heart of it. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think Pittsburgh should make a bold move for Terry McLaurin? Would you be willing to part with some draft capital to bring in a player of his caliber? Drop your thoughts and opinions in the comments below because your voice matters so much to us and to the Steelers community. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, rumors, and analysis, so stay tuned for the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news. Thanks for sticking with me, and as always, let's keep the passion alive for our beloved black and gold.